Good evening and welcome to TAMAPTA. I'm Leonard Harry.
I'm Debbie Gordon.
Language is the base of every culture. Among the Inuvialuktun in the Western Arctic, only 9 to 14% speak Inuvialuktun.
Last March, the first Inuvialuktun language conference was held. From this 3-day conference, TAMAPTA will bring you a 3-part series.
The first program, which you will see today, is based on school programs, the teacher education programs, and how we can achieve more Inuvialuktun in the schools.
Number 2 will consist of the language camps, proposed junior and high school courses, and how it will benefit the students in the future. Number 3, many young parents and high school dropouts remain in the communities but do not know their language or culture. Proposed ideas and programs for elders, middle-aged, and young parents will be brought out. We hope you enjoy this series. This is the Aklavik Board School in Saluit, northern Quebec. These students are fluent in their native language, Inuktitut. Only Inuktitut is spoken to them in their classes for the first 3 years. In grade 3, they are slowly introduced to either English or French. The parents decide which second language their child is to learn.
No, kano katpit. Kano katpit. Nakulong. Kano katpit.
These Aklavik students are about the same age. Their Inuvialuktun class lasts for 15 minutes each day. The children here can only speak English. In the Mackenzie Delta Beaufort region 50 years ago, they would have been fluent speakers of Inuvialuktun. They are not. They may never be.
But today, I'm married, I have children. I really would like them to learn how to speak Inuvialuktun. Because someday we're going to be the leaders. We're going to be sitting around this table talking like you guys here. And I think it's the time to start is now.
I don't think it matters what language you're talking about. If you're not able to use that language all the time, you just can't keep it.
So the language itself has to have status in the school system. The Inuvialuktun people who are in the school system have to have status. I know that's easy to say, but I think we can achieve that. If as parents we demand that has to happen.
When someone is sick, you all pull together, you go over there, you help them, you say prayers for them, you hold their hand. Well, our language has come to that stage.
For the Dene and the Inuit,
our language identifies who we are. Inuvialut ancestors long ago passed on skills used on the land and around the home by the language. The elders were the base and knowledge of the family unit. Today, our elders are our only link with this information. Rosemary Kirby of the Teaching Learning Center in Inuvik had a goal. She wanted to show the Inuvialut of the Western Arctic just how quickly the Inuvialuktun language is dying. With the help of Lillian Elias and Shirley Kassoon, they arranged the first Inuvialuktun language conference. Last March, over 50 elders and youth delegates were brought to Inuvik for 3 days to come up with ways to preserve and maintain Inuvialuktun. Rosemary called it the critical stage.
Someone asked me why we call this conference critical stage. You know, when someone is sick in a hospital and they're in a critical stage, they either die or they get better. That's the situation of our language today. It either is going to die or we're going to work together to make it survive. When someone is sick, you all pull together, you go over there, you help them, you say prayers for them, you hold their hand. Well, our language has come to that stage.
During the open house last October at the Teaching Learning Center, the ladies did a survey to show the students just how bad the language loss is. These students were not counted on this language fluency list. From the final agreement eligibility list, an evaluate 18 years and over were counted. As you will see, an alarming amount of Inuvialut in the Mackenzie-Beaufort region cannot speak or understand Inuvialuktun.
The statistical study we did was on our eligibility list, 18-year-olds and over, for our 5 communities. And the total amount of people were 1,514 Inuvialut 18-year-olds and over. And out of this, our elders were 121. That's 60 and over. And the 18-year-olds to 59-year-olds were 198. And so the total percentage was about 21% fluency for the whole region. But if we consider that the communities have 17-year-olds to babies, our statistics will go something like 9 to 14% fluency in our region.
If you look there, all the little people that are coming up in red, they're elders, 60-year-olds and over. The next one that goes up is blue. These are 18-year-olds to 59-year-olds who are fluent in Inuvialuktun. We have 198 from the whole region. Between 18-year-olds to 60, 80, 90-year-olds, we have only 319 fluent speakers left in the whole area out of 1,519 people. I don't think we'll have space there to show you how many non-speakers we have. The next batch of non-speakers, if you look at all those, we counted all the Inuvialut in our 5 communities. There's 1,514 little Inuvialut up there, see? 121 are elders, 198 are 18 to 59-year-olds, and all the white ones are people that are not fluent in Inuvialuktun. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots. We have only 17 elders left in the community of Aklavik, 60-year-olds and over. We have 59 people that are from 18-year-olds to 59 that are fluent in Inuvialuktun. And you have this whole area of people that are not fluent at all. In Inuvik, we have 572 people on the list, 18-year-olds and over. We have 35 elders, and we have 86 fluent speakers from 18 to 59 years old. In Paulatuk, we have 115 people on the eligibility list, 18-year-old and over. We have about 8 elders left, 60-year-olds and over. 25 fluent speakers left from 18 to 59. In Sachs Harbour, their community list is 88 people that are 18-year-olds and over. We could only find 5 people, 60-year-olds and over, and 18 fluent speakers in the community. Tuck, we had 503 people on the eligibility list. We are lucky. We have the most elders there, but we're losing our elders. 56 people are 60 and over. 131 are fluent speakers. 316 don't speak Inuvialuktun fluently.
I've attended a lot of language meetings, worked with a lot of language programs from one end of the territories to the other, to Alaska. And in all the schools that I visited and all the programs that I've seen, this is the only region where I see one language teacher per school. On the average, in our Kitagmud region where I work, there's at least 3 or 4 school or classroom assistants who teach the language program, and that depends on the size of the school or the community. Here we have in Inuvik, quite a big city, and only one Inuvialuktun teachers.
Uaptiknik poyok to atuniliblugiluon nisko artidangitsibulinu taqawt. Aku bakahisko kuminik tugut Sachs Harbour me, humiliqakisko kuminik tok. Ubatamna Inuit oqaqtu tawara poyo aqigay joqawut. Ubobagut antanaru aqtugun laptigni. Sachs Harbour me board qaqtugut education. Uboqawtigupti score wik putuna bagut. Inupeatur hanaqili hawdik padik. Nutakadi sagutaqa taqpata grade 5 munagalanu ni tayo lahilugit. Poyo kuminachu nalo tayo nakaqatakiaqakkupak tayo na score aqtahunganya hoding score titsila qalo hoding scoring ni mikirurat kanya naqaffichal kanya nikuqanik score titsugat.
Ilaw yugta ubagut uqawdiniangit kuptig nutaqqabut uingailaytut pilugit ubagut taw apquluku taw yuarut itpangniaqtugut nutaqqabut ilipkalait pallagutay maliugupta.
The teacher education program has 2 streams. The first stream is an institution program, which is a straight 2-year program that is run out of TAMAPTA campus in Fort Smith. There the students take all the academic courses except for the internship, which is when they work within the schools. Then they go out into the fields and do their internship. Some of the content of the teacher education program is trying to be geared to meet the needs of the native people of the North, in that some of the courses are really heavy native content oriented, and we did introduce last year basic communication in a native language. The second stream is a field-based program, which is a component of the institution program that allows students to work in their communities for the majority of the year. They are removed from the school for May, June, and July, which is approximately 2 to 2.5 months, for academic studies. But the rest of the year, they remain in their classrooms.
Inuit ilani nutao yuni malugin nuko kakamangnik na alagkainin mingno kakamangnik ili juminak oge bakluis mablunga. Tay mataw sak takumayaga aminilisimayaga Tuktoyaktuk mi apiksibak tawalo ako ilani ukakat ay kayoktik sa minik. Tay ma kiwak sinagan ngutamat ko at maningnik ang alat siwat maniksay ako naksugo. Aglanin ma ang iyong maning makatulad sa nakalawak to inuk ikayok to ako misikorming ni.
I'd like to ask maybe Larry Gordon, who sits on a board for Arctic College, if there's ever been any talk to train Inuvialuktun teachers to be regular teachers, and if they don't know their language, is there a possibility that we can teach them the language in the mornings and they can take regular university courses in the afternoon.
We recognize now that there is a problem. As a college, I think we're going to try and rectify that. I'm not sure how. We have to discuss and go back to the local people and to the local boards and find out what is wrong, what we are doing wrong in the program. Maybe what Rosemary says is do half days in Aboriginal languages and half days in university courses. This can be worked out. I'm not sure when it will be, but we've recognized the problem and hopefully we'll do something very shortly.
It's one of the ones they would like to see done right away is Inuvialuktun kindergarten programs in our communities, which means working immediately with GNWT, with our Native organizations, and with the divisional board, local education committees to set up programs. The other thing I truly feel will follow shortly is the daycare centers in Inuvialuktun, which will make it easier for kindergarten teachers and for program developers like myself.
It's only now that people are beginning to realize the extent of language loss amongst the Aboriginal languages. And you know, now that that realization is there, people are gearing up to do something about it. So you know, I agree with you. In the last 20 years, not enough efforts were made. There's no question about it.
And then the government came by along later and tried to introduce CAs into the TEP program when they were not ready for it. There's some who will never be ready for the TEP program. The program's too hard for them. It's not what they have to do to teach. Now, that was a good idea when they came up with the CAs to teach local or languages in the classroom. But they started to run into problems because they were using the CAs for everything else. They were helping the teachers do this and running errands for the teachers. That's where we ran into problems again. And now the department is thinking of creating a special program called the Aboriginal Languages Certificate for the CAs. This will not require the CAs to take the TEP program or to further their education. This is a certificate program that allows the CAs, local people, to go into the classroom and teach the language, what they were originally hired to do.
If the population in the community wished for the introduction of a kindergarten program in Inuvialuktun, that would then have to be a decision made by the local education council for that school. Now, local education councils are elected, are members elected from the community, which would then represent the educational interests from that community. So it would be a local decision, sanctioned through the local education councils, and they have the authority under the Education Act for that.
As a graduate of TEP and as a teacher, we have wasted a lot of time. There's been a lot of discussion going on. We've got to sit down, we've got to decide what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and we have to do it. There's no two ways about it.
Tamdali kanolugo taniktul hanya kaba 195 days ili hawraktula. Uwagod minyu pet ili haw nahalugit na ili rahalugit inyu value ili hawraktu scoring mitamna alangulak parulun niwa Inuvialuktun ili hawtip makina right.
I think, you know, sometimes the government gets a little bit scared if there's a group like this that makes a resolution and says it's time that we do have longer teaching hours for Inuvialuktun in order to make it survive. And so I think it's really important that this group goes away only after they've made a resolution to approach the government and say, we're serious now. We need more instruction hours in Inuvialuktun. And it's only going to take you guys to do it, because we're right in the system and it's hard for us to do it. But if it's a group like this, you have more of an impact than any little voice within the government.
Inupiatun ilihaw ti huro dinuit. Tawra mani nihurok kawan mani nihur lingarigok inoktok turuk wa ilihaw di kranik ihumagalak tut inoktorut. Tawra huna nakuman kawamat inoktok tinyaw nakagat ayokong itligo huna nakuman.
In 1984, 1985, when the Inuvialuktun programs were introduced, the classroom assistant positions in your schools were already staffed. There were already people working in the schools as classroom assistants. And most of the classroom assistants were not able to provide any instruction in Inuvialuktun, in that they were English speaking only. So it was not easy to ask, well, it was impossible to ask the persons who were already working in the schools to now teach Inuvialuktun, because these people didn't have the language to be able then to proceed to teaching it. There was no wish to fire people. There was no wish to lay people off from jobs they already had, to fire them because they didn't speak Inuvialuktun, to be able to create a spot, a vacancy, to bring someone in who would speak Inuvialuktun. So in a number of communities, you've got classroom assistants who have been in the jobs for a long time and whose interest is continuing in the school for a long time, and who are doing work in the school that's considered important and valuable by the CEC and the principal and parents. It is possible to allocate positions from a school, to dedicate positions to the Inuvialuktun program. For example, someone spoke earlier about there being a French teacher at SAMS. A teaching position is dedicated to that language in this school and has been for years. And that's a decision that's made by the Inuvik Education Society, supported by the Inuvik Education Society in direction to the principal to so organize the school. I remember about 1986 when the question was asked, should we consider dedicating a teaching position to the Inuvialuktun program? And there wasn't any support for that. I am responsible to the Beaufort Delta Board, Divisional Board of Education. And as a result of that keen awareness of who I am responsible to, I know the power of the voice of parents. And if there is a strong, strong voice coming forward saying that schools are to be organized thus and this way and that way, and that voice is brought through the community education councils with direction then to the board and direction to the principals, I agree, things can change.
In the earlier years when our kids were going to school, we were in a learning stage to ourselves in order to adapt ourselves to the new kind of a lifestyle. Like the first time I moved into a 512, I thought I moved into a castle. I felt shame because all of a sudden I got a house and my relatives got nothing. So I had to educate myself to do all kinds of things here. And the northern native parents cannot automatically fit into that system until after our kids grew up, and then we turned around and we said, oh, all of a sudden I found out what was wrong 20 years ago. Well, we're too far back already. We're too far gone. We're too busy trying to learn ourselves.
The system that we have doesn't reinforce the child's positive identity enough. It doesn't do enough to make the child proud of his history and his heritage. It doesn't do much to make children proud of their parents and their grandparents, their elders, and where they came from. That's all very much a part of feeling secure and having inner peace with yourself, knowing your roots, where you came from. And we aren't doing a very good job of teaching children that. I think that's where we have to go.
It won't guarantee anything. No curriculum can guarantee anything for kids. The only thing that we can guarantee about curriculum is that we have to be able to provide the very best possible teachers, and the teachers who understand the intentions of the curriculum, are committed to the curriculum, committed to the intentions and the wishes of the parents behind it, and then proceed with great innovation and creativity and hard work and persistence to make the fit for the students. Curriculums don't guarantee anything. It's the delivery that makes it or breaks it. Now, the exciting part in this, and I say this with a certain amount of hesitation because I have to also wonder how we're going to do it, but there is the opportunity for something really exciting to happen in this, and that's with the generic curriculum, we have the opportunity for local program development then. And that means we have the opportunity for persons who know and understand children in the schools, and that's being parents, community resource persons, CEC members, language teachers and teachers, to come together to plan those kinds of activities and those kinds of, well, I guess activities would be the best word, that will bring to life the curriculum for the children in a way that the children will be successful learners. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. I mean, that takes a tremendous amount of coordination. But there is something there that is potentially very exciting.
TAMAPTA Inuvialuktun, anga minihitap taptawin yung helikopter, anga chutit leho tayo niyo piyadon. Bagutaw kahin yung mga ilihaw rirong awani, inyum akyakan nirong itpanga, ilihakan nirong itkumin Inuvialuktun, ilihaw rin niyamik, tababtaw kwekit niyok. Inuit ingmik tikot kihiyan, ikisimaliyok kakating.
The Inuvialuktun Language Critical Committee was formed on March 8, 1990, with a member and alternate from each community. Peter Esau from Sachs Harbour was voted in chairperson. Vice chairperson is Rini Airy from Aklavik, and the secretary-treasurer is Sandra Ipana from Inuvik. The overall outcome of the conference was, it's up to the Inuvialuit people if they want to keep the language.
Yeah, yeah,